And we are live. I will never, ever, I don't know about you guys, I will never get tired of hearing that theme song created by the one and only Jeremiah Jackson from Coin Op Corner, one of the founding members of the Coin Jam podcast. Anyway, here we are. We're live. It's episode 23. Technically, this is the December episode of the Coin Jam podcast. I'm Charlie from Overtime Arcade. I'm joined as always by Liam from Retrobotics, Kay from Prime Arcade, and Chance from the Canadian Arcade. Hey guys, how y'all doing tonight?
Oh, not bad.
I might.
Continuing.
keeping on.
So right. you died, and now you put another quarter in, and you're continuing.
You know what? That's pretty apt.
There you go. It's $1.99 for the first minute, 99 cents for each additional minute.
Ooh, party chat.
Oh, we go. Okay. Who do we have here in the live chat already? Let's see. We have Encore MPW, Arcade Alex channel member, Anko, the Arcade Woodshop, Tony Arrowwood himself, joined by Gabriel, his partner in crime channel member. We got Papa Sean 69 channel member, Tubing in from Peterborough, Ontario. We got Arcade Fan 1980 VR, rock and roll. How's everybody doing? Arcade Alex is chiming in from Manitoba. We are strong in the Great White North. How does that make you feel, Chances? Are you swelling up with pride?
You know, I got nothing. It's nice. It's nice because there are a lot of Canadians in the hobby. So represent.
And how's the weather been up there lately? Because we got 2 snowstorms this week in Virginia, which is, we usually get 1 storm like this per year. We got 2 in a week. A lot of shoveling. I spent the day shoveling, and then breaking down Christmas cardboard boxes that have been piling up in the garage.
That global warming, eh? No, it's actually really nice here. It's plus 5 Celsius outside right now. I don't know what that is in freedom units, but it's
neither do we.
Yeah, so that's above freezing. That's
fine. Oh yeah,
it's warmer in Calgary than it is in Virginia, because right now where I'm at, it is 26 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, I don't know, below, it's negative centigrade or Celsius. Feels like 18 with the wind. So there you go.
What's plus 5 in Fahrenheit? I don't know.
Like 40?
40? Is it 40?
Yeah.
We have this thing here because we're so close to the mountains in Calgary called a Chinook, where it's like
that's a dual rotor Freedom helicopter for you.
Yes. Well, that's what the helicopter's named after. So we have these really crazy cloud formations that come flying over the mountains, and it's just like a big, like, as far as you can see on the horizon, like a band of clouds. It's warm weather that comes in over the mountains, and so like one day we'll have like 16 inches of snow, and the next day we'll have like plus 16 Celsius. It's amazing.
Yeah, the Canadians are coming out of the woodwork. We got channel member Wayne in Saskatchewan. It's crazy. Anthony's out in Ohio, so they got 16 inches of snow. I know. I talked to Troy from Troy's Restorations a lot. He's been walloped by snow, and they've been getting quite a bit. So, anything out there in Texas, Kay?
Yeah, I live in a desert. We got like 10 minutes of sleet, I think, one night. It's not even damp, so no, it's like, I don't know, 45 degrees. We're fine.
And how about you, Liam? You and Sam been shoveling? I know Ripley was out in the snow having the time of her life.
Ripley loves the snow. That has been absolutely wonderful for her. But as for shoveling, actually, no, not really. I sort of shoveled the front walk, and the rest of it, I just relied on my truck to get in and out of the snow because I do not care otherwise.
See, the reason that I was so adamant about shoveling my driveway today was because I was very eagerly anticipating some much needed parts to arrive, in particular cap kit for a 7400, which a monitor that does not have the best reputation. I've never worked on one before. I've got one that is mostly working, so I can get an image on the screen from the TPG. It looks okay, but I can't quite get the vertical sync to lock in all the way. And all the advice I've seen so far has been, don't even try diagnosing it any further. Do a cap kit and reflow first on that monitor, and then go further. So we'll see where that goes. And it was supposed to be delivered. So I ordered it, I think, Monday morning from Peter at arcadepartsandrepair.com. I usually get my stuff from him within 2 to 3 business days, right? Because he lives very close to and he ships out his stuff USPS priority mail. He lives close to a USPS like hub, and I live close to a USPS hub, Dulles Airport in Virginia. And I saw, the only scan that was showing up on the tracking was when it made it to his local post office, right? They had accepted it, was dropped off, and then nothing, right? And originally they said, oh, it'll be delivered on Friday, but I assume that means probably Thursday, maybe Wednesday if I'm lucky, right? But no scan. Like, it's on its way to its next destination. Well, clearly not, because it doesn't have the departure scan. So if it's moved at all, it has missed multiple scans. And the last time this happened, my package got routed via Honolulu, which I don't know if you guys have ever looked at a map, but Honolulu is not on the way from Montana to Virginia. And then last night, and so the original delivery thing was saying, Friday by 9 p.m. And then Friday night at 8:15, it showed up, it scanned in at Dulles Airport, and it didn't update the delivery thing. I'm like, I don't think they're going to get it here in 45 minutes, right? Like this pizza is going to be free. And then I got the update that it was like, oh, it'll be there by 12:30 today. And so I was like sitting around having a nice quiet morning, and it was almost noon. I'm like, if they like drive by the house and they see that the driveway is not shoveled and there's the snow hasn't been removed from in front of the mailbox, I don't want them to drive on and claim it was undeliverable, right? Because even though the traditional whatever motto of the postal service is neither rain nor sleet nor snow nor dark of night, but that is out the window these days. So I was out there shoveling furiously, especially making sure that they could get up to the mailbox.
I mean, I cleared that. I just didn't feel the need to clear the rest of the driveway. I just cleared a 2-foot path down the driveway.
The package, if they're like, well, I don't want to put it in the mailbox, I want to bring it to the door or something, but if it's not shoveled, I'm not getting out of the truck, right? So I did all that furiously, and as I, of course, it didn't show up by 12:30, and then they updated, oh, it'll be there by 7, right? And so I'm in the garage, breaking down those boxes, which took like 2 hours. And then I got the alert that it had been delivered. So I went down, and all I saw was a large box with a giant hole in it leaned up against, like it looked like it had fallen out of the mailbox. I don't know what was going on there. That was something for my wife, right? But sure enough, my cap kit's here. So hopefully maybe if I'm really feeling up to it, I might dig into that after the live stream. But that cap kit has like 40 caps. So that's not a quick one. So I might just wait until tomorrow morning.
You said it's a K7400?
Yeah.
It's not as bad as like a D9200. That's got more like 69 caps.
Crazy.
I feel like the Hentrix is even more.
Hentrix isn't more. It's just a terrible chassis in particular.
I found a guy in British Columbia that I can just send my chassis to, and he sends me a working one. So I'm not going to do it anymore.
Is that the state of the hobby for you these days?
No. I've got a K7000, one of the ones with the Zenith tubes with the dual BS thing, flyback, and it just died on me. And so I've been borrowing another buddy's 25-inch monitor for a location game, and we're just going to send the chassis away and get it swapped out for a new one. I don't even want to try and dig into that thing anymore.
I've got a disco cap kit sitting on the bench that I'm waiting to do until I'm motivated to work on iRobot.
I also had another package that I received in the mail today. This one was from Tony Arrowwood, who's in the live chat here. I'm in my queue, my project queue. I've got a empty Joust cabinet that I'm going to turn into a multi-Williams from my buddy Mark's arcade, back to the Media Arcade. And so that control panel, the original one, you know how if you go to a deli and you can get like, a breakfast sandwich made with a bagel, and you can ask them to scoop out the bagel, right? Trying to, save calories or whatever. They did that to this control panel. So the wooden Joust control panel, so it's wooden, right? So you have the longer leaf switch buttons so that they can go all the way through.
Yep.
And this was converted to, at least at one point, it was converted to Shinobi. It's got a Shinobi sticker and Sega Blue CPO. But if you look on the underside of the control panel, they like scooped it out somehow. Right? They didn't go all the way through the wood though, but it almost looks like, you cut the crust off the sandwich, except there's still a layer of wood there. And I was like, well, what am I going to do with this? Am I going to like just pour Bondo into it and like fill the whole thing with Bondo? But and then then I'm like, well, I need to perfectly drill all the holes, and you need those. They're not called countersink holes. It's like a Forstner bit or something. You need to do those weird sort of like compound holes.
You use 2 Forstner bits.
Yeah.
So you actually use 3 drill bits in total. You drill one tiny little drill bit as a pilot hole all the way through. And then that way you can perfectly line up your bigger and smaller Forstner bits. It's actually a really easy thing. And I had a similar thing with a Williams control panel where somebody had bored out a big chunk of it. And all I did was I took wood glue and a couple of pieces of hardwood that just so happened to be together the right thickness. And I just poured some wood glue in there, spread it out real nice, put in the hardwood, put it down, and then I put Bondo in and around the edge. So it's possible. But
Or I could just send a very modest amount of money to Tony Arrowwood and get the absolute perfection reproduction control panel. And he does like any game you want in Williams. He'll do blanks if you want blanks, or he'll do a multi-Williams setup, which is what I got. So
I've spent a considerable amount of time trying to fix that Inferno control panel behind me right now.
You know what? There's something really satisfying about taking an old like gutted Williams control panel and just fixing it. Like I've
done that so many times already, though.
Yeah, but just you're part of the hobby. Just do it. Like there's some things you got to do.
Just the guy who doesn't work on chassis anymore.
Look, okay, that was a joke, but seriously, like. Yeah, look, there you go.
Yeah, look at that.
That's gorgeous.
Pretty.
But like
new.
I've bored through that double borehole in buttons before stupidly. I don't know what I was doing. I bored through it and I had to make little wooden donuts to actually refit the space. So like it gets worse. Trust me.
That's another way to do it too. Just drill all the way through.
No, don't do it that way.
And then plug it halfway and
no.
Plug.
I'm telling you.
That is another way to do it.
It is not a great way to do it because like you've got to clamp wooden dowels in a drill press. It's just don't do it. Just literally, it's a 3-bit system. Like I said, take a tiny drill bit, drill all the way through, then you've got a guide hole, and then just get your depths right for the other 2 sizes. It's easy. It's really stupidly easy. And in fact, when I did my multi-Williams, because I had the Phoenix Arcade, the really nice multi-Williams overlay that they don't really even make anymore because I think they got ripped off a couple of times. When I had that one, Phoenix, Darren actually sent me a wireframe of it. So I took that to like a Staples, and on their wide format printer for like $10, I printed off a template and I just kind of like spray adhesive glued that onto the control panel. I knew exactly where to put the buttons. It was perfect.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all right. So this is our first episode of the new year, but again, technically this is our December episode. We try to do an episode every month, sort of towards the end of the month, usually the last weekend of the month. In November, the true date of Thanksgiving, not the fake date for people in places with shorter growing seasons, affected our ability to do it on the last weekend of November. So it got bumped to like the first weekend of December. And then again, Christmas, being at the end of December. So now our December live stream got bumped to this month, and we didn't want to do it last month because some people were still off, whatever. I think that was when Liam and Sam were on a 10-hour flight back from overseas, and it kind of would have been brutal to jump right into the podcast, right, Liam?
Yeah, no, we're not taking that from a plane.
So we've got our December episode now. For our January episode, we haven't talked about it yet. It might be, I don't know, we might do 2 this month or 2 in February, but February is a short month. We'll eventually get all caught up. But one of the things we want to do today is kind of do a bit of a year in review and a look ahead at 2025 across all 4 of our channels and what all of us are working on. But before we dive into that, we're going to do our standard updates, go around the horn, starting with Kay. Any recent pickups, any game room updates? What have you been up to lately, my friend?
Quite a few pickups, actually. So there's an arcade in my hometown of Abilene that's a couple hours away that I've been doing some trading with recently. I spoke last time that I was taking him a Xenon pinball and taking some stuff back as payment. There's a gentleman that I had sold quite a few machines to a number of years ago, and he had hoarded quite a few machines, and he has decided to sell all of them off to my friend that has the arcade, and he had to buy everything all at once.
How many
And
games are we
so-
talking?
A couple dozen.
Couple
probably
dozen.
about 30 machines or so.
Couple
and he
baker's
didn't-
dozens.
Nice.
He didn't
Yeah.
really have the room for everything. Or he's got the room, but he's got to put a lot of them in storage. He doesn't want everything that he's picking up, or he at least doesn't have the room to place everything in his arcade, or really the desire to have everything that he's picking up. So I'm taking some of those machines kind of as payment for the stuff that I'm bringing him that he does want.
What are some
so-
highlights here? Any bangers in the pickup?
So the first truckload that I brought back already, I brought back a couple of pins. I brought back a Raven and a motor dome. They weren't part of the his machines. They're actually part of his what he had in storage that he was going to try to get rid of anyway. But I took those as part of my deal. Part of the other machines that I took from the raid, I got a Maximum Force and a pair of California Speeds. Unfortunately, none of them had any chassis. They had
What?
tubes, but no chassis.
Oh, they just okay. Wow. Why?
Well, apparently none of the machines that came out of there had any chassis. At some point, they had all been removed and thrown in a box somewhere.
Or sent
I
to
don't-
BC?
I don't know. Yeah, this is sent to your guy for repair. It's got lost in the mail somewhere. We checked the tracking, and they just never meant to the destination. They just never got scanned. So he contacted the guy, and we found the box of chassis. So we know where those chassis are, and he's got them. So I'm gonna go next week and
Almost
pick
broke
another
that
load of
bottle.
machines. So I'm gonna go get those chassis. So the chassis have been found. So I will have complete machines.
So, some lovely D9200s.
No, one of them's the one in the Maximum Force is a Neotech, and the Cali Speeds are both K7500s.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, one of the Cali Speeds, whoever removed the chassis, broke all the pins off of the neck.
Oh.
So that one's a paperweight,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But I already have a buyer for those Cali Speeds anyway, and she does not care if I put LCDs in them. So I'll be LCDing those, and I have a use for that monitor anyway. I've got a Jurassic Park 3 that needs a monitor, and it's a medium res game, so I will have a use for that monitor. So I do have somewhere to put it. But I definitely need that chassis for that Maximum Force, because that game's not going to work very well with an LCD for sure. But all those games play blind. So once I get those monitors going, at least that Maximum Force would be playable. And I've already ordered the kit to upgrade it to a Maximum Force Area 51. I'm going to pick up another truckload of games from that, but I'll get to that when we get to the upcoming plans part of the discussion.
Love it. Pickups by the truckload.
Yeah,
Literally.
the Raven pen. That's a Gottlieb System 80B. I've never worked on one of those. I worked on a Black Hole, which is a System 80, but that's a little bit earlier. So it's a new pinball system for me. It's going to be my first time working on one of those. So that's a little exciting. It's a complete good-looking machine, so it should clean up and be a nice pen for me to fix up and sell. And then the motor dome was missing the back glass, but the guy he got it from did manage to find it. So I think it's somewhere in Dallas. We're gonna have to figure out how to get it from there to Abilene to me. but we will eventually get the bag glass to me.
Charlie
Well,
left
that
and
one's
none of you
complete as well.
swore. Sorry.
What's that?
Sorry, I mean to interrupt. Charlie left and none of you swore. That was an opportunity, a golden
I
moment.
can still hear everything. I can still. Don't worry, I didn't lose control of the situation.
Hey, at least you're wearing pants. Sorry,
This time.
Kay, Adelaide.
The motor dome is also a system that I've never worked on before, because those Bally's, like from the mid to late 80s, they all run off of the same system. The latest Bally that I've worked on was a Black Pyramid from 1984, and that's an earlier system. So that's also a system I've never worked on before. So I like working on pins that are brand new to me, and that's new and exciting. So I like diving into something for the first time. That's going to be a challenge. So that's going to be a lot of fun, just kind of taking on something new for the first time. Another machine that I got to pick up, Inco was with me for this one. I was actually buying back a machine that I had sold a number of years ago. I picked up a Fighting Mania. For those who don't know what it is a giant machine that is based off of the Fist of the North Star anime, where you have 6 punch pads, 2x2x2, that come out and light up, and you have to punch them. And there's a little screen in front of you that there's scenes from the anime playing out where you're fighting a character, and you have to do all these like little secret hidden techniques and stuff like that. And you fight the guys from the anime, and you hit their pressure points and their heads explode, stuff like that. It's pretty neat. I had bought that for myself from an auction a number of years ago. I spent too much on it, and then a friend of mine came over one day, saw it, offered me 2.5 times what I had paid for it. So that was an offer I couldn't refuse. So he bought it from me, and then it turns out he's moving, couldn't take it with him, and he sold it back to me for a 1/6 of what he paid me for it. So now it's sitting back in my shop.
So he's a buy high, so sell low kind of guy.
It was more of a, I can't take this with me, and I'm desperate to get rid of it, and I don't know what to do with it. Please get it out of my hands kind of deal. So I did end up buying it back, and I don't intend to let it go again, because I will never run into this game again. It's exceptionally rare to find.
What's it called again? Fighting Hands?
Fighting Mania.
Fighting Mania. And so what's it like to fix something, that's designed to be struck as hard as possible by the player?
So it's actually a very simple game. It's 6 motors that they come out, and you smack them and they fold back, and they're very high quality motors.
They're designed to absorb, a Tyson right hook.
Well, really, like, the only stress that they take is whenever you hit them, the motors stop pulling, so they just let go, and there's no resistance. So ideally, whenever you're hitting them, they fly back. It's whenever the only time that those motors really have the resistance that they shouldn't, is whenever the game's not running, if you grab the punch pad and pull it out like you just want to punch it, it pulls it back and blares this alarm that says, "Hey, don't do that." And the motor pulls back because it doesn't want you to be doing that. If you hold on to it, like, because you want to hit it when you're not playing the game, that can kind of grind down the gearbox and things like that. But that alarm is very loud, very grating, and it's very obvious that you're not supposed to be doing that. When we had it at the arcade, when the very first arcade I ever worked at, we had one of those machines. People ignored the hell out of that and did it anyway. But that's really the only time that there's any kind of resistance that can kind of wear down that motor.
Well, I appreciate you sliding in the title of the episode into your comments there about grinding gears.
I was going to say that was a little we haven't even gotten to the point where we need to do a segue yet, but you kind of just, got that in there.
Ingo is asking in the comments, like, if we knew each other yet when Fighting Mania was at her local arcade in Lubbock. That was over 20 years ago. And I think so, because I played one there at that arcade in Lubbock as well. And I don't think I went there and saw it before I knew her. So yes, I think we did know each other at that point. One other thing in this discussion before I move on to one of y'all, as for game room updates, as y'all know, I am completely TikTok famous. You know, that's where I make all my money. Like my business means nothing. It's all the clicks and views and comments and everything I get on TikTok that pays my bills. TikTok is probably going to get banned here in the U.S. in about a week.
Yep.
So, you know, my money is just gone. I'm probably going to be horribly destitute and out on the street. So I've been pushing to get everyone to move over to my YouTube because my YouTube, I really just hadn't been doing anything with. But I've been cross-posting all my content on my YouTube and trying to get everyone to transfer from my TikTok to my YouTube. But once TikTok is gone, I'm going to start kind of changing the format of the way I shoot my videos because all my videos are just vertical. And that's not how YouTube is. So I'm going to change the format and the way that I shoot my videos to be a little more YouTube friendly.
Well, and take a minute right here. Put the link in the live chat so that everyone watching can go double check and make sure they're subscribed to Prime Arcade on YouTube.
That would be at Prime Arcade TX.
Just so everybody's clear, once your country bans TikTok, it will still work. You just won't be able to download the app from the app stores. And it will eventually fail once their services require the updates for the app. So the bonus is you're going to have a lot of kids going outside and touching grass for the first time in a couple of years.
No, they'll just use a different app.
Yeah,
I brought up this Fighting
Instagram
Mania
or Threads
game.
or something.
I brought up this Fighting Mania game on Google because a Google image search because I had to see it. Really cool. It looks like a bunch of little fighting pads. There's a 2-player version. It looks like
there's a sequel to it that there's a 2-player one where you actually kind of fight each other. I've never done that before. I have played the sequel before, but I never got to do the actual 2-player component to it.
So it's just like an adult. It's like a modern whack-a-mole game, but with anime characters. Really,
I think I've seen one of these things at MagFest.
Yeah.
There's another
pads, like for boxing.
There's another variation of it called Boxing Mania, which is based off of a different anime. It only has 4 punch pads, but it's made by the same company, and it also has opto sensors that you're also supposed to dodge some of the punches. So you have to dodge left, you have to dodge right, and you have to duck. So it adds, like, if you've ever played Police 911, where you can actually dodge some of the shots that are coming at you, that's another Konami game. It adds some of the elements from that. So you have to do some of the punching, but you also have to dodge some of the punches. And then there's pressure pads in front of you that whenever you get knocked down, you have to beat on the pads to get your guy to get up faster so you're not knocked out. That's another fun game. I haven't seen one of those in many years either.
Wow.
Crazy.
Cool. Well, Liam, what's the latest from Retro Robotics other than that Inferno that you've been working on?
I think in December we only picked up one game. I can't recall if I talked about it on the last podcast, but we got a Kicks cocktail. And that has been moved into the arcade. We got it working. It's running all original hardware. So that's pretty cool. I think my only issue with it is that the Geo7 monitor that's in it is slightly off center. As some Geo7s are apparently wont to do.
You can fix that if you send it to a guy in BC.
I can also fix it if I put a pot in there, but I'm just too lazy right now. Because the only issue is if it's played in 2-player mode, you lose the bottom of the screen on player 2. But since nobody wants to play that game, it's fine.
Oh, ouch.
So that was our only pickup. We will be reorganizing the game room entirely soon. That's coming up.
Don't you have multiple rooms in your house that have games in it? So
the whole arcade space is going to get a reorganization because of Inferno and iRobot.
Smart.
So we're going to be moving some stuff around to make space, but that'll.
He's got a Zaxxon in his bathroom where it belongs.
Yes. Yeah, right next to the toilet. Got to make sure you don't mix them up.
It's like that Star Wars chair, except
only thing worse is Star Wars Pod Racer.
Anyway, so that's our only pickup is the Kicks cocktail. Far too many cocktails now. Could stand to get rid of one, probably.
And other than the control panel, you've been making a ton of progress on the Inferno.
Yes, I mean that's sort of projects you're working on, but yeah, the Inferno is technically working. It is missing a few things, but aside from the crazy expensive joysticks, I have tracked down every single component of Inferno. So there are parts en route, and hopefully I'll have this thing minimally playable next week.
Nice. I'm excited for that. I really am. I think that's.
Well, I'm going to get to play it because I actually go to Liam and Sam's house.
I'm on the other side of the continent. Okay.
I mean,
well, I'm more excited.
This will probably be the second closest Inferno to you.
yeah. Well, because Jeff Willard, the one that Jeff Willard built, would be closer. No, it's not. He doesn't have it anymore. I think
it's gone.
It's gone. That's right. And then yours, yeah. Huh.
And because Brad's isn't an original cabinet, is it? Can he convert something?
I don't think there are any originals publicly accessible.
That's too bad.
Good stuff. What about you, Chance? Have you actually worked on games in the past month?
Worked on or picked up?
Sure.
Okay, so I didn't pick up a game. I picked up something completely different, but it wasn't a game. It is still going to be a game. But I have to work on a few things to make some space for it. But
Chance is more excited about this thing than any game he's ever
dude,
picked up.
Nothing motivates me more to work on arcade projects than having a different project that has to go in that space. And like right now, like a lot of people know this, but I have an Eldorado pinball machine that I've been sitting on for like 7-8 years. I think I got it. And it's literally been sitting with the playfield on a rotisserie for the last 6 years. Just nothing screwed into the playfield. The rotisserie the playfield wood panel itself was clamped to the rotisserie, and all the wires and mechanics and everything was just sitting on top of it, waiting to be screwed down. And then over the Christmas break, I took ownership of the middle of a race car, and so I'm like, well, I gotta make some space downstairs. So I've been basically working on this playfield swap, trying to get it done, because the Eldorado was completely playable before I started the playfield swap. It was like original, beat up on location for a number of years. And I had most of the parts that I needed for it. So I'll do the cabinet at a later date. That's future Chance problems. But the playfield, we're most of the way done right now. The bottom is completely done. I'm just doing all the mechanics. I've got literally all the metal bits, posts and whatnot in the tumbler. I've got a brass tumbler in my garage right now with some ground up walnut shells. It's been running for 4 days.
I'm sorry, in your what?
My
Like what?
My garage. Garage? How do you say it?
Oh, garage.
Garage.
Yeah, that word.
Oh no, what happened?
Sorry. Random Pixelated Billy Bob with a $5 million super chat donation.
Speaking of playfields, well, I'll just take this from Chance. I finally managed to unpack the space shuttle pinball, so I am starting to look at that again. So maybe there will be progress on that. It doesn't matter that the motivation I had for unpacking the space shuttle pinball was stealing a processor out of it so I could test something else. It got unpacked, and that is the chief win.
Nice.
What processor was in the space shuttle?
There's a 6808.
Oh, does Inferno use that?
Yes, it does. I just wanted to check something on Inferno. I ended up not needing it, so back in Space Shuttle it went. But the point is, it's no longer wrapped in the same plastic wrap it has been wrapped in for 2 years.
Nice.
So it is finally sitting open in the workshop.
All right, so
I don't
anyway, sorry
understand how
about that. Where
Chance
were you, Chase?
unmuted himself. I don't understand how he was able to accomplish that.
Fair.
What
do you?
He shouldn't be
Stop.
able to do that.
Hey.
That's a much easier way for me to mute him.
Oh,
then.
there you go. What happened to Chase? Where'd he go?
Kick him.
Oh, that's
entirely.
right. Whatever his name is. Whatever his name is. There you go. Sorry. It's kind of like, you go to the fair and somebody sits in the dunk tank.
Yeah.
You got to throw stuff at the trigger to drop in the dunk tank.
Yeah.
There you go.
Anyway, here's the play field, or here's the El Dorado, because it's not worth looking at without actually showing it. Having like a brand new play field and putting new targets and cleaning up the rails, there's something about that. Like, this is oddly satisfying to rebuild this pinball machine. So yeah. Oh, I missed one of the rails. I have to take apart that pop bumper. But yeah, all the mechanics are on there. Everything. You'll love this. I replaced all the screws with Robertson screws because go Canada. But yeah, so we're kind of fixing a couple of holes.
You're gonna love that when you have to fix something in a jiffy and you don't have a Robertson screwdriver available.
This is Canada. We're born with a Robertson screwdriver in our crib.
We'll see.
Yeah. Just because Henry Ford messed up doesn't mean you have to give me crap.
What's that Canadian car company? What's that called? Oh yeah.
Yeah. You're basically all going to get wiped out by the Chinese car manufacturers anyway. Let's be honest. Yeah. How's Detroit doing?
We got a lot of viewers in Detroit, believe it or not.
Yeah.
It's big in Detroit. Let's see. For me, what have I been up to? So I actually made 2 pickups in December. After putting up a goose egg in November, 2 pickups. One was the Bronze Age Midway wheels cabinet that I got from my Discord Secret Santa. So in our private, channel members only Discord, we did our own Secret Santa, and my Secret Santa sent me a wheels cabinet, which is a Bronze Era driving game. And I had to go pick it up at Fastenal. Completely, no notice given to me ahead of time. Like the Fastenal terminal called me and said, "Come get your game." So that was pretty wild. And I also picked up a cabinet from Jeremiah. I haven't done a pickup video for this, but if you've seen his, not this most recent video, but the one before, because he did 2 in 2 weeks, Coin Op Corner, and you've also seen in the background of some of my recent videos. He picked up a Popeye for me in Kentucky and held it in his garage for a couple months until I could come, hit him over the head with a control panel and steal the thing from his garage. So I've got a Popeye now, which is awesome. There was actually 2 cabinets. There was a Donkey Kong cabinet that had been converted to a JAMA game that was part of that same deal. But that cabinet, when Jeremiah got it, was so far gone, completely unsalvageable. So he disposed of it. We'll talk about that in a future episode. So yeah, 2 pickups in December, those 2 games. We saved the monitor and all the PCB and all the electronics from that cabinet that was destroyed. I did release a pickup video last month for the Pac-Man upright that I got several months prior, which is pretty cool. Finished 2 projects last month, the Tetris Cocktail, and the finally, after 30 months, the Ms. Pac-Man that I have been working on. Both of those are actually going to leave my garage and go to my office at work. My coworkers are actually really excited because we have probably space for at least half a dozen, if not more, games. There's this back wall that there's nothing. We moved into a new office. There's this back wall that I might just set up with a row back there, which would be pretty cool. So we're doing that. And those are the big things for me. Let's go into projects we're currently working on. Some of us have dabbled in that a little bit already with what we're talking about. So for me, I'm doing this thing in January called JAMA January, where my goal is to get 2 working JAMA cabinets set up in the garage, 1 vertical, 1 horizontal, each of which set up with 2 sets of controls, 2 8-way joysticks, 2 sets of 3 buttons, so that I can just swap. Both of them have trays that slide out. You can swap the PCB very easily. Just want to make it super simple for me to test and play lots of different JAMA PCBs. So I've been working on that. The video I did last week was my horizontal cabinet, which is a pretty uncommon East Coast Designs UV19, which is kind of like a JAMA, but very different. It's got this like metal frame, like an endoskeleton that holds the whole thing together. So that's good, and that's kind of branded. I've got a WWF Superstars marquee on it. I've got to track down some site art for that eventually. And I'm currently working on the vertical cabinet, which is the Dynamo HS5 that I picked up at that the same midnight garage sale that I got the Tetris cocktail and the Ms. Pac-Man mini from. So that's pretty cool. That'll be sort of branded as a mystery game. That's got the 7400 monitor in it that I need to do a cap kit and do some other work too. And yeah, so that's what I'm currently been tinkering with. Let's go to Liam. You talked about the Inferno. What else have you been cooking on?
Mainly the Inferno whenever I get a chance for it. There's been a lot to do on that cabinet as it's been a total deconversion, and I'm trying to do the best that I really can for it. In December, I ordered all kinds of stuff. I designed replacements for the control panel metal plate and the PCB mounting plate, and had those done through Send Cut Send and delivered. So I have the plates for that. I put together the cabinet. I got the PCB set converted and put in the cabinet. I'm still tracking down some demons, in that set, but I think I will hopefully get that resolved in short order. I've narrowed it down to the area around the graphics ROMs on the video board.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate how awesome Send Cut Send is?
Yeah, no. I ended up ordering 3 panels from Send Cut Send, and it was pretty cheap.
Yeah,
honestly, 3 control panel plates and 2 gigantic with PEMS PCB plates, and it came to like $200 something. So not that bad at all.
Yeah.
So that is really cool. The Inferno is on. It works. I've mostly finished the wiring harness. I need a few more colors of wire because I want to make sure that I'm doing it with exactly the right color combination wires that Williams did. So I am delayed while I wait for certain wires to show up before I can finish the control harness for it.
That's intense that you're actually color coding the wires. Original, like I'm not.
Way to go!
It's way to.
Yeah.
Oof.
I mean, we got Charles Klein in the live chat here. That's one of the reasons why I like his reproduction wiring harnesses, because he goes that extra mile and sources the original correct. Sometimes multicolored. That's
exactly what it is.
The yellow stripe. Yeah.
So I've got all the original wire colors, the correct style connectors. Everything is correct in Inferno as much as I can get it. So I had to get
people don't make reproduction Inferno harnesses for some reason.
No. I had to get the CPO redesigned from Galloping Ghost to fit an actual panel, because it was designed with a joust in mind. So all this stuff is coming together, and I'm very, very excited to see it in one piece, hopefully by the end of the month. Of course, I don't have the actual Inferno joysticks yet, but that'll be a later purchase because those are very, very expensive.
Yeah.
But so that's Inferno. It's going to go into the game room this month, hopefully. That's why we're going to do the whole arcade restoration, moving around of cabinets, because I think once it's just down to the joysticks, the game will be playable. I can put it in the lineup, and I can replace joysticks without having to pull it out. So that'll be fine. The iRobot, not so much progress on that because I'm still trying to track down parts. I did get a disco cap kit, and I'm going to eventually do that. I did also in December completely reproduce and repair the iRobot wiring harness, again, with original wire colors and connectors. So I have the ability to make more, but I did repair the original one that was in the cabinet. So replaced all the damaged sections of it, which is nice. So that should be good to go whenever I get a power supply for the cabinet. And
they just said Bobby just said in the chat that you should make a little stamp that says NASA for all of your restorations.
I mean, I've got the NASA stickers lying around everywhere, but
ooh, meatball.
I'm not about to stick them on a cabinet. The other project that I haven't even started yet is we have a Cubert in the garage as well that will become a dedicated Cubert cubes. But that's just lower on the priority list while I've still got iRobot and Inferno pending.
Because Sam loves cubes, right?
Yeah, Sam loves cubes. Probably even more than Cubert. So this will be a dedicated cubes to go right next to the Cubert, which is going to be hysterical because they're basically going to run identical board sets. I'm probably going to do a Cubert board set with another Mike Doyle 10-in-1 on it. So literally identical, but
well, and what's kind of funny is it's easier to find or make a Cubert Cubes joystick than it is to find a Cubert joystick. Because you can like cobble it together with like the base from a crane game, and you can find like a shaft that is the right thing because it's subtly different from the original Cubert joystick, which even people stopped making reproductions of those. But you can find or make a cubes joystick because that's what I did for the Cubert that I restored for my buddy Mark.
Well, this one's going to need a joystick, so I'll probably find a real cubes joystick for it and probably get the Phoenix Arcade cubes art package for the whole thing. Hilariously, it was converted to a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, same thing as the Inferno. I don't know why Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is getting these horrible conversions.
Money.
But I pulled off the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles marquee, and the original Cubert marquee was under there, which I thought was hysterical. It just fell right out. Looks like it was in great shape, but since it'll be a cubes anyway, it'll just go on the shelf for now.
Very cool. How about you, Kay? What's on the workbench right now?
Well, I was just started on building another 61 today, and the cabinet I was working on had been it was just a 8-liner cabinet, but it had been converted into it had a Namco Collections Volume 1 PCB in it, fully working. If you've never seen one of
people
those
like
before,
those.
it just
I love that PCB. It's really good.
Yeah, it's got Xevious, Mappy, and Galaga on it. And then it has arrangement versions of all of those on there that I don't think you can really play those versions on anything else. So that's kind of neat. So I've got
Volume
that set
2
aside.
one especially is awesome.
Yeah, I've got that set aside, and I'll probably take pictures of it and put that up for sale at some point. And then I've got another 8-liner cabinet I set aside that I'm going to turn to something else that's got a double dribble in it. So I'm just finding random PCBs that I've got in the shop, and I'm going to use that cabinet as a test rig, and because it's just a JAMA cab with a nice looking monitor in it. I'm just going to use that to test some of the PCBs I've got lying around, so I can get some of those just tested and working, and just start listing some stuff for sale that I've got lying around.
Were you working on a Ms. Pac-Man the other day?
Yeah, I just finished that. That was just a repair for a client that I've had sitting around. That thing was kind of a nightmare just because it was mostly PCB issues that I was having, and it was just, God, that thing was a nightmare. Just some of the issues that I was having because I kept making a little bit of progress and then 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and I'd get it to where it's like, yeah, it's a playable Miss Pac-Man, but there's no sprites. And eventually, I have in all my parts, I had 7 Pac-Man boards, all in just various states of disrepair.
Wow.
Like this one only has like 3 chips in it, and this one's missing a whole bunch of stuff, and this one's just completely stripped. And I was able to Frankenstein all this stuff together and finally get a working Miss Pac-Man PCB put together to put into this cabinet. And then I had to get a second board set Frankenstein together for another Miss Pac. that I've got as a project, which is one of the upcoming things that I'm going to be working on because I picked up an empty Miss Pac-Man cabinet and one of the things I talked about in the last episode where I picked up an empty cabinet. It didn't have a board or a monitor. I've got monitors. I just needed to put a board together. So I was using this cabinet to put a board together, and I finally did. So I've got another Miss Pac-Man to work on. I also had picked up a Popeye from that last episode I talked about. That Popeye is weird because it's missing its power supply, but it doesn't. It's not the wiring harness that would hook up to it is not the wiring harness that would go to a Popeye. It's the wiring harness that would go for either a Punch Out or a Play Choice 10.
So did they convert it to a PC-10?
Maybe, but
I think that there was a conversion kit for at least DK style cabinets.
To say, yeah, it's a blue cabinet for like a Popeye or a Donkey Kong, but like, so maybe it was a single monitor Play Choice 10 at some point, but I've never seen
thing. Yeah,
I've never seen a single monitor Play Choice 10 in a blue cabinet. I've only seen them in orange or like gray. I've never seen them in blue.
I've seen
it. It didn't matter. They made a kit for all the way back to the Donkey Kong side of things for both Versus and for Play Choice 10. So again, back to what Charlie said, money. All they wanted to do is, let operators convert their games.
But even the Versus cabinets, they used a different power supply than PC-10 or Punch Out did. So that's a whole different power supply wiring harness too. So it wasn't a Versus. It had to have been either a Play Choice 10 single monitor or a Punch Out because that's a whole different one too. Because I was looking at Arcade Shop and they have all those different adapters that you can use because there's like 6 different ones for all those Nintendo power supplies.
I'm using
the connectors that I use, like that are in this cabinet, are only for Punch Out or Play Choice 10.
I'm using a Popeye play power supply in my Play Choice 10 cabinet downstairs.
That's weird because they should be 2 totally different wiring connections.
A single monitor Play Choice 10 harness. Maybe it's different.
The voltages are the same. It's probably just got to be wired up the right way.
Yeah.
And so the connectors that I've got are completely different from what I've seen in Popeyes anyway. So anyway, the one that I need from Arcade Shop is out of stock. So I'm probably just gonna hack up the wiring because I don't feel like waiting for it. I'll put in a switcher and just hack up the wiring and make it work so I can just get that Popeye together. I've already ordered the side art I need for it. I've already got the T-molding. So once everything else is complete, the PCB and monitor are in there. I don't know if they work. I got to put a power supply in there to find out. But if that PCB is good, or even if it's not, I'm sure I can fix it. I get everything fixed up and I'll get that Popeye together. I think I've already got a buyer for it. It's the same guy that wants the Miss Pac-Man. So
there you go.
I just got to get those things up and going, and I've already got a buyer for them. So there's some more videos for me to make and more sales to make. So I mean, you won't see them on TikTok, but you'll see them on YouTube, I suppose. Other than that,
the same great dancing though.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see me do the floss. Do the kids still do that?
Is it still a thing?
They do the gritty. They do the gritty now.
All the kids
stanky leg
floss on TikTok, did they just grow up and now, have knee issues?
Probably. They still don't talk to their dads. That's whatever. Other than that, I really have been trying to get back into my repair side of things because my repair pile, is still just sitting there. It's not really growing because I stopped taking repairs a long time ago, but I've really been trying to burn through that. The Miss Pac-Man I just finished was I picked up in March, so I'm getting through it. I'm trying to burn through that. So the next repairs in line, I've got a Fast and Furious. I've got another Miss Pac-Man. That's the third Miss Pac-Man in the shop that I need to get to. A crane machine and a wyvern ring. I don't know how you pronounce that. It's not a real thing anyway. But I'd say a vertical shoot 'em up. It's a shmup. I've never heard of it, but it's just in a dynamo cab with a 25-inch monitor.
Isn't that like the Welsh word for dragon?
something like that. I mean, I don't know. It's got
Dragon
a
with
vowel in it.
wings and 2 legs.
It's got a vowel in it, so I don't think so.
Okay. Cool. Well, Chance, you already talked a little bit about what you're currently working on now. So why don't you just transition straight to upcoming plans, any parts you're looking for, that sort of thing.
Still looking for a Double Dragon Play Choice 10 PCB. At a reasonable non-eBay price. Other than that, it's basically just I got to get this pinball machine done, and then make some space downstairs for my sim rig. But that's about it.
There you go. How about you, Liam?
Just the Inferno and the iRobot. Nothing else really planned.
Okay. And you're looking for those joysticks for Inferno. Like, what's special about them? What are they?
Yeah. So parts that I'm looking for. The joysticks for Inferno are unique to Inferno. They're very similar to Blaster. They have the same grips as Blaster, but the same base as Bubbles, and they are rotated 45 degrees because all of Inferno's joysticks are rotated 45 degrees. So it's an 8-way optical joystick with a like flight stick handle. So
if it's
not exactly
8-way,
something.
What does rotating it do if it's an 8-way joystick?
Sorry, no, 4-way. Yeah,
4-way.
It's a 4-way.
Okay.
It's a 4-way stick.
There's no really good pictures of them online. That's the problem. Other than Jeff Willard's gallery, which is not on.
It's
on
a
Facebook.
4-way.
If you go on Facebook and look up Arcade Unicorn Inferno, you'll see pictures of an original Inferno.
Yeah.
So could you take a couple of arch rivals joysticks?
That's exactly how they're made.
Put a 4-way restrictor plate in there, and then rip the orange ball top off and 3D print a grip for it. Basically,
but I've got it figured out. It'll just take some money.
Please don't 3D print it.
I actually have a original handle. I would like to get a second one, but I have a lead on original handle.
Oh, nice.
But so there is that. At least one player will have an original one.
So you can just 3D print it. Like you can 3D print a tapper handle. I don't know what the big deal is.
3D printing is dumb.
But for the iRobot, I still need the control panel and a power supply. Just need those 2 parts, and I can get the thing to work.
There we go.
Yeah,
Found it.
That's what it is.
That's it right there.
Yeah. Wild.
And yeah, I've been talking with the owner of this machine. He's helped me a lot getting photos and dimensions of things to make sure I do everything as exact as I can.
Such a cool game. I don't understand why this wasn't like I don't understand why the general population and Williams it wasn't a thing, right?
Industry crash.
I've been doing a lot of reading about Inferno and Joust 2 and the games of that era. I literally went through and looked at Playmeter magazines from the 80s, just issue by issue, trying to figure out where these games came out. Inferno was the last one that they tried of this generation. So they started it out with Mystic Marathon and Blaster, and those were advertised as the first conversion kits from Williams. I have not seen a conversion Blaster, so I'm not sure how many of those sold, but they did obviously sell the conversion Mystics. And they were trying the same thing with Joust 2 and Inferno for vertical and horizontal, respectively.
Charlie, did you just thumbs down Joust 2?
Double thumbs down Joust 2.
Why?
And I love Joust. So a
saying-
bunch of reasons. One, it's a horizontal game put on a vertical monitor.
Who cares?
But I'm getting to why.
Because they figured, we wanted to convert vertical games.
Exactly. It was a mandate from on high that they needed to do a vertical conversion. Well, I thought was really interesting when I looked into the conversions for Joust 2 and Inferno and Not Mystic. They apparently didn't do it with this, but for Just 2 and Inferno, they actually would fold the PCBs over, and they had an interface plate and a like Atari style RFI cage that these things shipped in for their conversion cabinets. But they did it with the back planes, just like their older classics when they shipped them in their dedicated forms.
You know, hot take, because you mentioned it, Mystic Marathon. Okay, here's my hot take. Absolutely the best art package Williams ever put out. But the game was garbage.
That's pretty solid take. The game is absolutely trash. It's my least favorite Williams game.
But the cab, there's something about that, like it's the perfection.
It's very nice.
Well, like the stencil on the side of the tree and the shadow and the like it is probably the perfection of the Williams stenciled art kits, and how the art like goes from the bezel down into the control panel. Absolutely gorgeous, but the game was hot garbage.
Yeah, and Inferno's the opposite. The game is actually really good,
but the art
package is terrible on Inferno. No, it's actually the worst. There's no like it is the worst art.
No. The worst is Joust 2, because it's like, hey, let's just take a Joust and change the colors slightly.
At least it had a stencil.
Yeah.
Joust 2 is just Inferno on the side is just a sticker with a W on it.
Oh, we should design you a custom stencil for that cabinet.
I'm not doing a custom stencil.
Just saying.
I've thought about it, but then it wouldn't be the original intent.
And you are doing the wire the right color, so I get it.
I already went. Look, I got side art done, die cut side art for Inferno, and I put it on, and I got pissed because there's a missing pebble. I noticed it on the side art that the original machine doesn't have, that the NOS piece that this is scanned from apparently didn't have either. But I noticed. Nobody else would notice, but I did.
You can get a little art brush, right, and paint the pebble.
Yeah, I bet Sam could draw that on there.
I've thought about having it done as a separate sticker and putting it on, but I'm not there yet.
Just get a Sharpie. It's fine.
Well, that's something with the other Joust
Crayola crayons,
right? With like your Robotron or your Joust or something, if you really want to go to that extreme, you've got to get the little TM stickers made.
Yeah.
Right? Because they stencil the cab and then they have the clear sticker.
You know,
actually, stickers.
Actually, with our Robotron, we stripped the paint, and the original TM stickers were still there and managed to stay on the cabinet even after stripping off all the paint.
I've had that happen too. I pull them off and then I save them. I've got a little baggie on my corkboard downstairs that next to all my keychains and everything. And I've got like random Decal and random Nintendo like artwork parts that are like small enough for an envelope. And I have all my original Williams TMs still in there because they're just easy to take off once, but you know, they would just spray paint black over the whole cabinet, right? Money.
Jerry says he needs a TM sticker. Remind me, Jerry, I can actually make them.
Yeah, you should just make new ones.
I have a printer that can make them. So cool. All right. Anything else, Chance? Anything else coming up? No. So for me, Anthony Presley was asking in the chat about the Atari Star Wars that's been in the background of my arcade, my garage for a little bit. I've mentioned this before, I think, at least in like maybe members only live streams or something. But that's from Mark. That's from Back to the Media Arcade. He's had that for like 10 years and it hasn't worked. It's just been sitting in the back of his garage. He dropped it off with me. He claims that when he got it, that it was working blind. Or playing blind, and he was asking if I could take a look at the Amplifone monitor that it has. So, you know, I got a cap kit and a flyback, and you know some of the parts that commonly go bad. So at some point, I'm going to dig into that Amplifone monitor. I was trying to get Liam to come out and hang out with me for a day. We could work on it together because I know
did not work out.
I haven't done it yet. So if you've got like a free Sunday or something coming up. We could probably figure something out there.
What is the driving time betwing you two again?
It's like an hour and a half.
An hour and a half.
Yeah, maybe a little less, 75 minutes if you're speeding. So I'll be digging into that at some point. I really want to get the Sidam Bosconian done. I think that should be a pretty straightforward restoration.
That's a cool one.
Yeah, basically all I need to do is grab another monitor off my shelf and stick it in there because that's got a tube from a Hanterex but no chassis. So I'll just grab a monitor, stick it in there. It does
You
have
you want a Hunter-X chassis? I've got one.
Probably not. Probably not.
But it's an excuse to get him to your place. Say
That's
yes.
true. And so
Say yes.
I'll take it, and I'll find something that you need, and I'll trade you for it. It does have a JAMA harness in it because it had been converted to I can't remember. Is it Akari 2 or Akari 3? It's not the original one. But I might use that harness or replace it. I've got another JAMA harness ready to go. I'm going to put that. I'm going to make that into a horizontal bit kit cabinet. And the control panel has been hacked up. It doesn't have a CPO on it. I don't know what I'm going to eventually do for a CPO, but it's set up for 2 of the LS30 rotary joysticks. I'm going to actually replace this as sort of a weird sort of setup. I'm going to have a regular 8-way joystick wired in parallel to a actual Bosconian joystick. And they'll be like both the same player, right? Player 1. So there won't be I won't set it up for any 2-player simultaneous games, but you'll be able to play Bosconian with the correct joystick, because I have a Bosconian joystick that I got from Dillweed. And then I'll just have like an 8-way Wicco in there for other games, and that'll give you some, flexibility for what you can
Isn't
what you can
Bosconian
play in
an
there.
8-way?
It is, but it's got a special joystick. Or I might do 8-way and a 4-way. Sorry, I'll put
Why
like
don't
a
you just do a
4-way
dedicated
Wicco.
Bosconian?
So I've really liked in the Deco Burger Time that I have the ability to play all these other games.
Why don't you
And
just make a dedicated game for each one that you want to play?
Because I don't have infinite space. There's infinite games that I want to play, and I don't have infinite space for all that. So, and the control panel is already hacked up, right? They don't worry, they did preserve the cigarette ashtray in the middle of the control panel that is still there, right? That's a Sidam hallmark. So do that. I'm not really going to do any cosmetic stuff. It's got some battle scars on the side art, but not too bad. And in fact, it kind of looks awesome. Like probably the biggest piece of damage to the side art is one of the, I don't know, lobes of the space stations in Bosconian. I don't know what the names are of all these things, but you shoot the stations in Bosconian, and like one of the 8 pieces, no, there's 6 of them. They'll like blow up right before you hit the center or whatever. So it looks like it's been hit, which is kind of cool. I was able to get an original Sidam Bosconian marquee from Sardinia, believe it or not. That was pretty cool. A couple folks helped me track down somebody that had one, and they were great to work with. And it's exactly the same as the Midway Bosconian marquee, except it says Sidam instead of Midway. So that'll be cool. I do have another Nintendo cabinet pickup lined up. That's basically ready to go anytime I want to go grab it. One of the things I need to do is consolidate some of my projects to get rid of them. So in particular, I've got 2 Pac-Man mini cabarets, and I've got 2 Outrun mini cabarets. Basically, I've been talking about this forever, but I really need to go and kind of go through all of those, consolidate them into one really good project, and then sell or trade off what's left over. And I'm kind of debating what I want to do with my Golden Tea cabinet, right? I've kind of lost steam on wanting to do that. I was originally going to sort of do that for a friend, but I don't know. That's kind of it's taken up a ton of space because it's a bigger cabinet. So if somebody's keen on getting an empty golden, and it's not even like an official Incredible Technologies cabinet. So if somebody wants that, I could probably be persuaded to get rid of that. In terms of what I'm looking for, I'm pretty good. I've thought about maybe trying to track down a Golden Axe PCB, because that horizontal JAMA cabinet that I have has a Golden Axe CPO on it, and it's got like a Golden Axe license sticker on the back. So that might be cool. But Golden Axe PCBs have been going through the roof on price. So
I have one.
Do I have anything that you want?
You do.
What do I have that you want?
We'll talk later.
Feet pics.
Didn't you guys see that when I walked over to?
You don't have to give it away, Kay. Like I was building up to the feet pics thing, but you had to get right into it.
Oh, you want
Hey,
a
you
double
guys-
dragon?
You guys
You
want to do
double
business or what?
dragon? I'll trade you. I'll pay for shipping both ways too if you want to trade it for a
I'm
double
the one who
dragon
gets
PC10
cheap shipping,
cart.
and you're gonna pay for it. That doesn't make any sense to me.
That's because the Golden X PCB is worth a lot more than a double dragon PC10 cart.
So I should just fix it and send it out.
Oh, it doesn't work.
Oh, there's only one thing wrong with it. It's one of the
It's suicided.
no, it's fine. It's one of the joystick controls doesn't work. I've got the components for it from Mauser. I just have to go downstairs and take them off and solder the new ones back on.
There's only one thing wrong with it. I mean, when you plug it in, like flames shoot out. But other than that,
I've dealt with that before. I fixed that before. Actually, I did. I gave it.
It's an easy. It's that one. It's that one IC that has. It's like a package of like 4 or 5 of them, and you can replace them with the discrete ones. Yeah. It's just that.
Cool.
But other than that, it works.
So I'll have your people talk to my people now. Now that we got that out of the way, we can actually dive into the meat and potatoes of what we want.
You think I have people?
You got people. You got Vanessa, right? Vanessa's your people.
Whoa. Hey. Like, I didn't go.
I thought we did. You didn't go?
I didn't talk about upcoming plans yet.
You're doing something?
Okay. I thought maybe I'd said it only in my head. Like, other than, having to dance on a new video platform, what's coming up for UK? I thought I already asked that.
No, the last thing I did was projects I was currently working on. I had not yet talked about upcoming plans.
Okay, well, let's hear it.
Trying to skip me. Come on. I got all this stuff written down.
Oh, yeah, it's on the document.
No, I actually print mine out and write it down.
What is that, paper?
Yeah, I have physical paper here.
Wow.
Is that cursive handwriting?
Wow.
No. They don't teach that in schools anymore.
That's really neat handwriting.
Yeah, no, it's not. I do like block writing. No, see, well, the thing is, like, my camera's got the lighting on it. If I actually change tabs over to the notes and I type things in manually, I lose that lighting. So I'm very dark here.
So the GoFundMe for Kay to get a key light for his new YouTube venture is.
Yeah, if you want me to actually put a light here, like, I don't have that kind of scratch. So you
gotta have like separate.
The lighting in my room is over there, so if you want me to like rearrange the entire room, I don't have that kind of time.
No, because then we have to prove that you don't have pants on, and we don't want you to do that. So just keep going, keep going.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay, so the warehouse that I talked about earlier, where I had picked up some stuff last month, the guy had actually called me. So the warehouse is in New Mexico, but the guy who owns it is actually in Arizona. So he had actually inherited it from his brother who had just died. So he only comes in once a month and he's there for a couple of days. And so he just opens it up for 1 or 2 days. People come in, buy some stuff. He leaves for a month. He comes back the next month, sells a bunch of stuff. So he sets up all these appointments for people to come in, buy a bunch of stuff a couple of days a month. So he called me last week and went through a bunch of the stuff that he's got left. I picked out a few things for him to set aside for me. So at the end of the month, I'm going back to that warehouse and I'm picking up a upright Sega Turbo, a 2-player NFL Blitz, a dedicated Virtua Fighter, and a 3-player Combat Tribes, which is a beat 'em up that not a whole lot of people have played.
It's a good game.
Including the guy that was trying to sell it to me, because he apparently had never heard of the game before, and him trying to say the word Combat Tribes was hilarious because he said it differently every time and wrong every time, and it was adorable.
I think I have a dedicated
Combat base
stock CPO for Combat Tribes.
He kept saying like Contra Turbies, cornhole ruby.
I've seen a lot of Facebook Marketplace listings like that.
It's like every time he tried to say it, he would autocorrect in his head, and he would just say something else. So it took. If I didn't know what he was trying to sell me, I would have no idea what he was trying to sell me. But I saw it the last time I was there, so I knew what it was. So I'm going to go pick those up later in this month. I'm also going to go get a second truckload from my guy in Abilene for all the trades that we're doing. So the next truckload is going to be a Speed Up, which is just it's a Namco sit-down racing game Very generic. Most people haven't heard of it. I'd never even heard of it until I worked on it. There's nothing special about it. Just think generic sit-down racing game from the mid-90s. You can picture it in your head.
Like
There's nothing
Cruising
special about
USA.
it. Basically, yeah. Except
Big B thinks is the best arcade game ever made.
except take out all the personality, and that's basically it. And then just a generic police trainer and a House of the Dead, and basically whatever else I can fit on the truck that he doesn't want. So those are more things that I'll throw in my project pile, and I'm sure I'll make more videos of that. I'll put on TikTok as long as I can, and then on YouTube when I no longer can. So that's what I'm doing with my upcoming plans. That
There you go.
script me on.
Again, make sure all of you are subscribed to Kay's YouTube channel now that his TikTok channel is getting banned in the United States due to communist infiltration. Just put a link again down in the live chat. Make sure you go and subscribe right now to Prime Arcade.
That's right. The McCarthyism has come back. The Red Scare 2.0 is taken over. So
In
while
Texas,
you
of
still
all
can,
places.
while you still can on TikTok, TikTok, Prime_Arcade, and on YouTube, Prime Arcade TX. I wasn't
Man.
able to do the same username on both.
You
taken.
southern states like can't do TikTok anymore, can't do Pornhub. You guys can't have
It's true.
absolutely horrible oppression. What happened to the freest country?
I don't
in
think
the world?
Charlie's lips could purse anymore when you said that.
Listen. We might not have freedom to have fun or anything like that, but we do have good queso and barbecue and guns. So there's that.
Yeah, no,
Right.
The guns
freedom
are what's
that matters.
keeping me going. Yeah. The guns are keeping me going. I'll be back.
I can have
All
good
right.
food and I can step outside and fire my gun in the air, and that's cool.
Yeah, I can't do that.
There you go.
Second one.
The stars
yeah,
at
you think
night
about that.
are big and bright.
Maybe soon.
All right, so reeling this back in. Okay, the topic that we actually wanted to cover this evening, and we always take way too long to go through the updates, is hey, it's a new year. What year is it now? 2025. It's funny. For the longest time, that's 2025 is the year that the main credit card that I use, the expiration date, and whenever I would have to give it over the phone or something like that, which everyone loves to do, I would always make the joke oh, this expires in whatever month, 2025. Wow, doesn't that sound like the future? Well, here we are, old men. The future is now. And we're going to talk about a little bit about, for each of us, the year that was 2024, a year in review, and then a look ahead to 2025. But starting with year in review, I know, Liam, you recently posted on Clav a nice forum post in your sort of channels thread about kind of summarizing the whole year. So why don't you walk us through what 2024 was like for you and Sam at Retrobotics?
I mean, at a glance, we had 21 machines or PCBs come in and 6 left for 15 net in 2024, which is crazy. That just about doubled our collection, just under. Some of the highlights were Inferno, iRobot, Food Fight, Sinistar, Qbert, and Solar Fox, I think, for 2024.
Those are all awesome games too.
Yeah.
No, really, those. I mean, there were other cool games, but I think that those are the highlights. I think the coolest pickup was definitely Inferno. I never would have expected to find an actual Inferno cabinet, let alone Inferno Serial 2. Is just absolutely insane. And it's looking beautiful now. So I'm really excited to see how it comes out. The biggest money pit of 2024, I mean, if you don't count pinball machines, because Adam's Family was expensive. iRobot. That thing, we picked up the empty cabinet for $500, and I have spent more on fixing this stupid cabinet than any other machine in our collection outside of Adam's Family, and it's still not close to being done. So it is expensive, and at the end of it, I will probably sit back and think I should have just bought a nice iRobot versus try to fix this thing.
But it's the journey, not the destination.
Yeah, I could have bought a journey for this price. How about that?
Wait, hold on, wait. We've got a sound for that.
The best experience is probably the West Virginia arcade raid. That was really fun. Hadn't got to do a arcade raid before, so I was really happy to do that. And only kept one game from it, the food fight, but that turned out to be really, really beautiful as well. It's in great shape and quite fun. So I'm actually that's definitely a keeper. That's not going anywhere. And the worst experience of 2024 in the arcade hobby was the two cockpits from Florida.
The Termite Mania.
The Termite Mania. That was horrible and traumatizing. The termite.
How many
Star
miles
Trek.
was that round trip?
I don't
there's
even
termites?
know.
I still got blamed for that. I don't understand how, but I got blamed.
It's clearly your fault.
It is my fault. Yeah, like thousands of miles away. I got blamed for that, but I'll take it.
That was horrible. And when I saw the $300 Star Trek and Road Blasters and thought it's too good to be true, it was. Ended up spending way more than that, and ended up scrapping both cabinets anyway after all the time and money spent getting them and then mitigating the termites. It was an absolute disaster and 3 weeks of like trauma on cabinets.
But you didn't let it ruin your year, and you didn't let it kick you out of the hobby, because if you did and you capitulated, you wouldn't have this inferno. You wouldn't.
The Inferno
robot came after too, right?
Were you making a scratch build for the captain's chair though?
I need plans.
I thought we had
cabinet.
plans.
No, there are no plans. I need either plans or an empty cabinet. I still have all the parts for captain's chair sitting on my shelves.
Okay, so 2025 mission is we need to get you plans for a captain's chair.
If I can get a set of plans to cut a captain's chair, I will build one. I have all the parts for it.
He's only like an hour or two away from you, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I just need the plans, and then I can put one together, because I mean, I haven't dug into any of it, so none of it works, but at least I have all the boards. I have everything just sitting there.
You should just put the boards up on your bench.
Yeah, that's just easier said than done, because the wiring harness needs work. It needs to be repaired and sorted through. And you know how big the wiring harness is for a captain's chair?
I can imagine.
I put it all on the bench. I was trying to do an initial diagnostic and get some of the stuff working. I tested some of it, but the wiring harness for that is crazy. And I do at least have the monitor. I have a Next G08, and I have a almost complete 6100 from that pickup. So just swap the tube over from the 6100, and in theory, I would have a full G08 setup. The only thing I'm considering is that technically the tube from a 25-inch Star Wars cockpit will fit in a Star Trek cabinet. And it has been shown that a G08 can power a 25-inch tube.
That chassis can drive that tube?
I've seen that. There's a YouTube video on a guy who did that, actually.
Exactly. So I'm thinking, if I end up having to build a cabinet anyway, why not shove a 25-inch tube in it?
Do it.
So that would save me a 6100 anyway.
The Enterprise had a big screen.
And you can incorporate that into a joke and like retheme it as a Kelvin Universe captain's chair, right?
More importantly, I could play TAC-SCAN on it, on an actual screen size, if it is a 25-inch monitor.
25-inch TAC-SCAN, that's cool.
That'd be gnarly.
In a cockpit,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that'll be if and when I can get plans to do it, because I still have all the plastic stuff. Everything's in great shape physically. I even have the molded plastic Sega logo canopy sitting in my barn. It's protected, but it just waiting for all the crap. Just need the plans.
And termites.
No termites. Thank you. I literally took some of the bits where the wood was stuck to like metal or something. I just set it on fire.
Lovely.
Fire
Lovely.
cleanses all.
Fire
All right,
cleanses.
we'll circle back in a minute for the 2025 preview. But how about you, Kay? What was 2024 like to you?
I mean, honestly, as far as business stuff goes, 2024 wasn't much different than 2023 or 2022 or many of the years before that. I'm still in my shop. I'm still doing my thing. I fix Pac-Mans, man. This is what I do.
I don't know if that's beautiful or depressing.
I love what I do. So honestly, like, I hope I'm still doing this in 2064. Like,
Yeah.
that's
There you go.
really the plan. My long-term plans really aren't too terribly different from what I do now. Really, what I'd like to do, I want to purchase the building that I'm in, because I rent my warehouse. I'd like to buy it. Every time I go and pay rent, I'm trying to get my guy to give me a price for the building that I'm in, because I think he would be willing to sell it, but I can never get him to give me a price. He always gives excuses. I'm always wondering if like he owes years and years of back taxes on the building and he just won't tell me about it.
You can look that up.
He probably has minimal rights for the whole thing.
Yes, I don't know. He owns like the warehouses that are next to me as well, and one of them's up for lease. So I assume they wouldn't put it up for lease unless he actually was up on his payments and everything like that. But so I'm trying to get him to sell me that building. I want to buy that building, and then I'd like to find it. I'm outside of the city limits a little bit, and it's not a great location as far as like foot traffic goes. Plus, it's just a warehouse. So I'd really like to find a better location inside town that would be better for foot traffic, and I would like to find a location that is that would be good for having a shop out of the back and having an arcade in the front. I would like a free play style arcade.
Showroom.
Yeah, well, I kind of have a showroom. I've turned the office into a showroom, but I would like the front part of my building to be an arcade where you pay to get in and everything's on free play. And then the back half of the building is just my shop. And then I could have the building that I now own, and I could rent that out, and that would be just passive income. So I move out of the building I'm in now. I rent that out. That's just passive income. I move everything I have in that building now into the back half of the new building that I buy, and I just run my shop out of that. And I continue to do fixing and flipping, and I also maintain the equipment for the arcade in the front, and I hire people to basically run the arcade. So they just take money and give out bracelets or whatever for the people that come in and are paying to experience the arcade and do the free play and all that. So that's semi-passive income. I'm just maintaining the machines. I hired people to just take the money and give out the bracelets and stuff for people who want to come and enjoy the arcade. And that's semi-passive income. I'm just maintaining the equipment and fixing and flipping stuff out of the back. So that's basically 3 incomes all at once. That's the long-term goal. Maybe. I don't know.
For tax purposes, you shouldn't have admitted that online.
No one listens to this podcast. That's fine.
Oh, fair. Yeah. Okay. Wait, the IRS probably doesn't even have the internet yet. They're so far behind in technology.
This is a message from the government of Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For purposes, this is a parody, and everything I'm saying is not true and will not happen.
You're talking about in-game. In-game.
Yes.
Yeah. We're talking about this is an online MMORPG that I'm talking about right now. This is something I'm going to do in a virtual
Second Life.
Yeah.
Second Life.
Yeah.
Build an arcade shop in Minecraft,
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
This is what my character's gonna do some flossing and then play his own arcade.
Don't give the IRS ideas. They'll probably be like, "Oh, we could tax Minecraft worlds."
V-Bucks paying.
That's my long-term
What
plan.
are
That's not
the
something I'm gonna
Minecraft
do.
mineral rights worth?
Yeah. Right.
There you go.
Are they double in Texas?
A lot of netherite.
Yeah.
All right. I know Minecraft slang. Cool. Chance, how about you? What was how many videos did the Canadian arcade release this year?
Listen, hey, I did based off of your suggestion.
Weren't you giving me shit in the last episode for?
Oh, he said a
building
bad
Inferno?
word. Oh, I didn't say the first swear word of the day.
No, you said the second, and this was the third.
What was the first? There was no
Don't
first.
worry about it.
Well, he can't repeat it. It'll be the fourth.
I know that was my plan. No, I actually did some YouTube shorts. I don't have one of those.
Show of hands who saw those.
That doesn't
Hey,
count, you son of
hey.
a... Wait, no, sorry, that was about to be the fourth.
Wait, hold on. I've got No, that's not it. Anyway, no,
you released 2 videos last year.
We did 3 YouTube shorts. Oh no, that was this year. Oh crap.
I do like 3 of those a week. Come on, get on my level.
Yeah. So we did a couple of videos. Yeah. Honestly, more about just it was work. 2024 was about work, really. And that attract mode is insane. No, looking back on the year, I had actually looked this up. So I think the only pickup that I had in 2024 was a slot machine. And the only like an old Bally Midway modified slot machine. And the only reason I bought that was to convert the art package to use it for work. If you know Winona Earp, it's like a sci-fi Western TV show. They released a movie called Winona Earp Vengeance. If you look in one of the opening scenes of Winona Earp, you can see they're in a casino, in the back room of a casino, and there's a Doc Holliday slot machine that I built that. So that's literally the only pickup I've had this year.
You did 2 regular videos too. You did a silent 5-minute, 22-second silent film on the Tempest cocktail back together.
The Tempest cocktail is probably our zenith of videos. I think we're pretty happy with that.
Super high production value. Right?
Yeah, if honestly, that's something that we don't feel got a lot of traction or should have gotten a lot of traction. Yeah. One of the things we're very proud of. A couple of years ago, Josh went out and bought a cinema camera, like a proper cinema camera. Like it's literally on the Netflix camera, because Netflix puts out this list of authorized cameras that they allow for production to use. And he actually went out and bought a camera that was on that list. And so we used that to film the Tempest restore. So not right now, because right now you're watching the Coin Jam podcast. But later, if you do feel like you want to watch just a little more content, it's only, you're right. It's only like a 5-6 minute video. We have a video on a fairly artistic, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Of that, it was one of my favorites.
Well,
it literally took us 2 days to shoot.
And then you did a video just about moving some games around in your basement.
Yeah, I was bored one day, and I figured, you know what, I might as well put the camera on.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, I was gonna do a 60-second tour of the arcade for the end of the year, but legitimately I thought, well, if I'm gonna do a YouTube short, because I wanted to try shorts, because it's Charlie, it's your fault. You were like, you should do shorts instead of posting to Instagram. You should just post. I remember that we had this conversation.
Just make videos, dude.
Just make videos. And so I was downstairs working on the Eldorado playfield swap, and I was like, you know what? I posted them to Instagram, and I'm like, Charlie is going to give me if I don't post this to YouTube. Plus, we would have probably also lost our monetization, because I think it's like a 6-month lap now.
And you post stuff to Facebook all the time.
Oh, all the time. All the time. If you follow, well, don't go try and follow me privately on Facebook, because I won't add you. But I post Instagram and Facebook stuff all the and the reason why is because it's easy to cross post on that, right? The odd time we post on the Canadian Arcade Facebook side of things, Instagram side of things. But yeah, we done a little bit of content. But as far as like other things for 2024, like looking back, this was kind of the year of completing projects and getting things over the 50-yard line. Is that is a football?
Yeah, how many yards is a Canadian Football League field?
47.
So is that getting across the 55-yard line or something?
I don't know.
Do you have yards there?
In the
meters
behind the houses, yeah. This year we got basically Skyskipper got finished this year, except for the PCB. That is still out for repair at this point. But the game is, for all intents and purposes, it's done. The Wild Gunman, again, one last little bit of detail. It was asked in the chat earlier, like how my Wild Gunman was doing, the thumbprint panel. And I found and bought membrane switches for the Wild Gunman thumbprint panel. So my hope and dreams are to make that realistic. And then the only thing that could finish off that cabinet is a Double Dragon PC-10 cart. Other than that, what else did I did? What else did I do? Oh, Tapper. Tapper got finished this year. Thankfully, and thanks in part to people who view this podcast, Tapper got finished. So, and it's not my game, so it doesn't really count. It belongs to my wife. So, but yeah, Tapper got finished.
They don't have community property in Canada?
They do.
It's
And
half yours.
it is half mine. And then, yeah, because I always used to joke about divorce, like half of nothing is still nothing. Fun fact, Tapper may or may not be showing up on a TV screen, my Tapper, a TV screen near you this summer. Don't want to go into it, but that Tapper is done and is potentially going to be on TV here soon. Anyway.
With the Simpsons Tapper ROMs?
Yeah. Well, no, we had to rush it to finish it. I had to get the cup holders finished because we needed to use it because a lot of people don't know this, but clearing arcade games for television and film use is actually really difficult because like our legal.
If only we did an episode about that and went into the intricate detail about how you would get the licensing.
But yeah, so like our legal department for a show that I worked on in the summer, like literally we gave them a list of like 60 games and they shot down all but like 7. And it's like Tapper was on the list. And I'm like, well, I kind of just threw that on there for fun.
Well, here's something. With Tapper, do they have to get both Bally Midway's approval and Anheuser-Busch?
You know, they didn't.
I bet you it's because they didn't know.
They didn't know. That's exactly what it is. But they did get Bally Midway's approval, or whoever owns the rights now.
Because it says Budweiser.
It does. But you honestly, I've
always do the root beer version.
Well, no, it's like it's the real thing. But I've seen the dailies from that day of shooting, and like you couldn't see the logo. There was no way. I've got a great picture of our director playing it though, which was kind of cool. But I'll get into that in the summer. We'll talk about that during that episode. Okay. That's foreshadowing for 2025.
Cool. All right. Well, let's see. I think we hit everyone for the year in review, except for me. So for me, my year in review, I went into like all of this in my live stream just after the ball dropped on New Year's. But like Liam and Sam, this year was a big year for pickups for me. I nearly doubled my collection as well. I picked up 29 games. So running through these real fast. My second Outrun Mini, my Bally Sente cabinet that I'm going to restore as a chicken shift, the Primal Rage, the Irish Food Fight, the Kicks cabinet, the Sidearm Bosconian that I was talking about. Then I had that midnight yard sale where I got the Mizpac Mini, the Dynamo HS5, and the Tetris Cocktail, and then a mystery game that we'll talk about some other day. And then 2 games I got from Dillweed. I got the Time Pilot that's back here and up in the garage. It's technically a dedicated 10-yard fight. Terrible game, but a very uncommon dedicated cabinet. I got my 2-player Super Off-Road from Stephen Wallard up in upstate New York. I got my Deco Burger Time cabinet. I got that upright Pac-Man that we just talked about. I got the Vanguard that's back there. That was a trade from channel member Jerry Voluptuous. I got another mystery game. This was number 50, so I'll be making a bigger deal about that when I do that pickup video. That's one that I had my eye on for a very, very long time. That's going to be a very fun restoration. And then in the warehouse raid, I brought 6 games home. The Battlezone Cabaret that I'll hopefully be restoring soon. The Thief, the NATO Defense, the Space Invaders Deluxe, the Enigma 2, which is really cool, and the Sonic Asteroids, so the Spanish asteroids. I also got the Zac, and then in the same pickup, or 2 different places in the same day, I got the Zaxxon that had been converted to a Rastan, and then 2 Pac-Man mini cabarets. And then the 60th game that I ever picked up was East Coast Designs UV19 that had clacks in it that I'm using as my horizontal JAMA setup. and then the Popeye, and then the wheels from my Secret Santa, both of those in December. So 29 games I picked up. Crazy. I got rid of 6. I sold the Class of 81, the combination Ms. Pac-Man and Galaga. I traded away my Armor Attack and Depth Charge. Those both went to Dillweed. I traded away my Future Spy project. That went to channel member Jumping General. I sold the Primal Rage. I gave away the Zaxxon cabinet. I stripped everything that I wanted out of it and gave it away. And then I've even got 2 more that I'm kind of getting rid of. My Taito Superman in the Dynamo HS7 and the Sly Spy, which is it's technically dedicated, but it's basically a Dynamo HS2. Those are both currently for sale at Back to the Media Arcade in Winchester, Virginia, if you're interested in buying those. I started 5 projects. I started the Leland Quarterback, which is basically done, except I have a video issue on the PCB. And then the other 4 I started and finished, the Primal Rage, the Deco Burger Time, the Vanguard, but that was a very light project, and the Atari Tetris Cocktail. So those are 5 projects that I started, and I actually finished 8. So I finished more projects than I started, including the Primal Rage, the Sly Spy, the Cubert, the J-Rock Cubert, the Frogger that's back there. Again, the Deco Burger Time, the Vanguard, the Atari Tetris, and finally, just in the nick of time, just before the year ended, the Ms. Pac-Man that I had been working on. I picked that up in July of 2022 and finally got that done. And I suspect that I may be single-handedly responsible for a precipitous decline in stencil sales, given all of the struggles that I had with that. So that was probably the low point for me this year, was all the problems I had with the stencils on the Ms. Pac-Man. But you live and you learn, and I will, if I ever do it again, I probably won't. I will definitely do better.
It'd be cheaper to fly me out there and let me stencil it for you.
It would have been cheaper to buy decals.
The what? Decal?
Yeah, exactly. And put the decals on in my garage. All right. So cool. With that, let's talk about what's coming up ahead in 2025. Like Kay said, he's shifting all of his energy and focus to YouTube. So Kay, tell us a little bit more about what you have set, your sights set on the future.
So I actually did forget something about the year in review. So I do want to let's circle back to 2024 before I go.
We can
on
circle.
2025.
I don't like the year. Let's just move on.
Too bad. So I did want to mention. So
stop living in the past, Kay.
So one thing that one of my sources of income is that I do have some contract work that I do. I have some permanent contracts with, it was a couple different companies, but one of them got bought out by the other one. So now it's just with one company that I have contracts with some of the businesses that are local that I do consistent work with where I maintain their equipment on site. And that's one of my only consistent sources of income. Last year, I picked up a new contract where I maintained the equipment at a couple of pizza places out of town, a couple of places in Lubbock and Amarillo. So that's a couple hours and then a couple more hours north of me. So I picked up a new contract last year. So that's something new that happened last year. So that's pretty cool. Also, a new thing that happened last year and a little bit in 2023 as well. So I've never done real restorations. I can do control panel overlays, and I can do some side art, like the side art for like a Galaga or like a Popeye, where it's just basically a peel and stick kind of thing. But I don't do full side art like a Centipede, where you have to strip everything off and do the sanding and like actually do a full vinyl and do it properly and take off the T-molding and do the whole thing. Like, I don't do that. I do not have the patience. I don't have the precision. I would screw up the thing and get bubbles everywhere, and I'd get mad and just rip the whole thing off and paint it white and call it good, is what I would end up doing.
You know, we have a video on how to do it, so you never have to worry about.
Yes, and I would do it wrong.
Yeah,
and that's not the point.
You'd be fine.
Nevertheless, So I don't have the patience for that. I also wouldn't do stencils either because I know I would screw that up. I know me. I don't have the precision. I don't have the skill. I know how I am. So Inco here in the chat, she lives about 2 hours away from me. I've had her do that for me, and she was actually doing that for the first time as well. She has successfully done a couple of pinball machines for me. She's in the middle of doing a Star Trek, like a Bally Star Trek pin for me right now. She's done a couple of centipedes for me, and it's nice to know that now I have someone who can do that for me. So I am able to do restorations now as well. So if it's a full side art or if it's stencils, I now have a partner that can do that for me as well. So I'm not going to offer like restorations for other people because I can't even really offer repairs for other people because I have so much of a backlog. I can't really do that. But if I have a project that I'm doing a full repair on, if I want to do a restoration as well and really get that thing 100%, so I can get the full value of that machine before I put it up for sale, I can also get that restoration done as well. So I have a partner with me that I can do that. So that's something new in 2024. I can also bring that with me into 2025 as well. So that's something new that has happened that I can now bring on with me as well. So that's something I wanted to mention too.
I dig
I
it.
felt that
I like it.
that warranted mentioning as well. So
It's good to have a ride or die to work with you on this stuff.
yeah, especially since if I was trying to do, especially with a full vinyl artwork, I would get about maybe halfway up and I'd get some bubbles or it would start to fold in on itself and I'd just be like, screw it. And I'd just rip the whole thing off. And
watch our video. You'll get it every time, all the time.
I watched the video and I saw it and I was like, I'm not doing that.
Oh, you're one of the 4. Oh, cool. All right. Yeah. I didn't know she lived 2 hours away from you.
Mm-hmm. I watched her do it and I'm like, I'm not doing that. I watched her start doing it and I'm like, I'm not doing any of that. Even the prep, I'm like, I'm not doing that either. This is why I pay you.
Yeah, she's talking some trash in the live chat too.
Something about your body odor. I don't know. I don't read that. Oof. Yeah.
Oof. That's so. What else is coming in 25, Kay?
So in 2025, it's mostly going to be more of the same. As far as personal goals go, I want to set aside $1,000 a month into my savings account. That's going to go towards buying a house. For those who don't know, 2024 came with a divorce, which means I left my house and got into an apartment. And so apartments are cool. Houses are better. So I would like to get a house again.
You can fit more DDR games in a house.
That's true. I sold my DDR and no longer have one. And this apartment's, it's pretty spacious for an apartment. So I do have 2 pinball machines and an arcade, but I don't have a DDR. So
and your upstairs and downstairs neighbors probably would not want that.
I do have upstairs neighbors. I don't want upstairs neighbors. I have the worst upstairs neighbors. My upstairs neighbors are a single mom with 2 kids that I guess are.
Do they own a DDR?
It sounds like
they do. I guarantee it. Yeah.
They're either DDR players or they are marathon runners or construction workers that really like to practice with their hammers. I don't know what they do, but they seem to punch the floor a lot or just run around in circles.
How old are these kids?
Like 4 and 2, something like that.
4-year-olds and 2-year-olds. We got tons of friends that have kids that age. They do that.
They might be professional wrestlers in training because I think they just jump off of the furniture and just do flying elbow drops onto the ground.
That's what every sound you can think of that involves.
They can hire you to be the ref.
I might go up there and just put them in a Boston Crab until they pass out, something like that. I don't know. But yeah, like she said in the live chat, there's a lot of running and screaming, jumping up and down. I don't know. I would really like it if the mom would discipline these kids. I don't think she does. She just kind of lets them run. There's just free range kids.
Yeah, that's soft parenting
inside the house.
So I'd really like to not have upstairs neighbors anymore. That's really my motivation right there, is to not have upstairs neighbors anymore.
The man's not a man without a piece of land, Kay.
That cuts a little deep right there. So
no, I'm saying like
you insulted his manhood
you'll get another piece of land. Great.
With a garage in the basement and a yacht.
All right.
Yeah, I gotta get me a garage so I can fill it full of DDRs. And I can have a lawn to mow again. So I can, not talk to my neighbors.
Beer cam, that's a foot cam.
Don't give that away for free.
That's what you can look forward to in 2025. More feet pics.
So yeah, it's personal is just to set aside some money every month so I can put that towards the house and maybe towards buying the building that I'm in. But mostly it's just a lot of fixing more Pac-Mans, shooting more videos, and continuing doing the same thing that I'm doing.
Love it. How about you,
have a nice backyard with a fire pit and a wrestling ring and more space for pinballs and arcade machines.
Love it. Chance, how about you? You going to pick up any games next year?
I'm very, very close to having what I want in my collection.
That's what everybody says.
No, like legitimately.
Whatever happened to that ice cold beer?
That is still okay.
Still in my shop?
Yeah. Is it really?
Oh yeah, I haven't touched it.
I just found a cheap way to.
Is this the part of the conversation where you say, "Oh, I'd like to buy that from you," and then you just don't ever reach out to Kay for whatever reason?
What if there's termites?
No, it's fine. It's right next to the Jurassic Park pen. I also won't sell them.
Yeah, we literally have a limited number of games on the it list in this household. Jurassic Park pin is one. Ice cold beer is another. I have an extended list of games that'd be nice to have if they show up in the area. But other than that, like when I started this journey, over a decade and change ago, I said like, what are the games that I really like, that I really want? And then along the way, I got most of those and picked up a few that I didn't know that I wanted and got those. I know that's potential to still happen, but for the most part, like I've kind of come to this point where I'm very comfortable with the size of my collection, what it is, and what it could be. And I think like ice cold beer is going to be that cherry on top, whether I buy K's or I find one local, because like it's the shipping, right? And or I buy one of the brand new ones, right? Like, and I had a choice a couple of months ago. Do I buy a brand new ice cold beer or do I buy a Formula 4 race car? And I kind of bought a car. So
it sounds like Chance's moving on from the hobby.
No, but that's the thing. I will not let you say that because I'm not. This is one of those things that like when I move on from a hobby or when I move on from something, it's usually in a year or two. We're pushing like 12 years now I've been in this hobby, which isn't very long compared to some of the old timers that say I've been in it since the 60s. But like legitimately, like I'm in here for the long run. But I'm content. I'm happy with what I have. There's a couple other games, like if a tail gunner showed up, I would go out and I would buy that, right? I've got that short list of those other. If it what is it? Night Drive? It's like an old Atari black
Night
and
Driver.
white.
You don't even know the name of it.
I couldn't remember, but like Night Driver, like
Grail, whatever it's called.
Yeah, whatever. I don't really care. But like I've got like. I've got my new games list, like an Omega Race. It'd be nice to have. I've got a Dig Dug. I just need to restore it. A Zookeeper would be nice. A Timber would be cool. A Darius would be cool. But like,
would a Omega Race cocktail be okay?
No, I'm good.
So
I think
because I have one of those.
I as much as I like to talk about how awesome cocktails are, I think I'm done collecting any more cocktails because there's an abundance of people wanting to get rid of them in our area at any given time of the year, and I think I've got enough cocktails.
Okay,
there's only one more cocktail I would make room for, and that would be Warlords. But other than that, we've got too many cocktails right now.
Yeah, and see, I have one of those, so I'm happy. I've got my Atari Row now that my Tempest cocktail is finished. So I'm happy with what I have in my collection. I'm content. I'm very, very close to being fully content.
What's
You
that?
gonna
Like?
finish Sky Skipper next year?
Well, okay. So update on Sky Skipper. Like I said, the PCB is sitting in Quebec City. It's on the other side of the continent with our friend Andre. He is looking at it.
Because you don't work on stuff anymore. You just send it out.
I just send it out. No. Like it came to the point with that PCB where it's like there was nothing more that I could do. So like who better to send it to than like one of our best friends? He used to actually live in Calgary. He just retired. And moved out back home because he's French Canadian. He moved back home just outside of Quebec City. And hey, they're.
I'm sorry, you said French, and Dude,
I'm the Albertan here. If anybody's gonna go for Quebec, it would be me. But
no, look, it was the French part. That was.
Oh, okay. But Andre is probably one of the most intelligent people, not just in the arcade hobby that I've ever met. I feel lucky to call him a friend of mine. He is a very, very smart man. In his job before he retired, he basically managed a team of people fixing guidance systems on fighter planes. So if anybody can fix Sky Skipper, it's him. And so like we have a little group chat going with him and Time Runner and our buddy John out in Europe. And Mike from Mike's Arcade, and we're actively right now trying to figure out what's wrong with our Sky Skipper upgrade PCBs. As soon as that's done, the board comes back, it goes in the cab. I'll play it for 5 days just to finally be done with this 7-year project, and then it will be going up for sale.
Hey, Kate, before I forget, in defense of our Quebecois listeners out there, weren't there 6 flags that flew over Texas? I'm trying to remember what all 6 of them were.
Yeah, Kay. What was the other one?
Spain,
I don't know.
Mexico.
Texas history.
France.
Was a long time ago.
France.
Texas used to be part of France.
What? The Louisiana? What now?
No, that's not how it happened. But Texas.
Yeah, we weren't part of the Louisiana Purchase.
I thought you
No,
were.
No. But
No,
Texas. Texas
was
part of France.
its own country. Come on, we were the only part that was its own sovereign nation.
And
1845. Come on.
And like Louisiana, Texas was part of France for 5 years.
Yeah, not to get slapped on the wrist here for being too political again, but yeah, maybe you should be your own country. I'd move there.
We'll secede. It's fine.
Yeah.
The South shall rise again.
Done it before.
How are you going to rise again without Pornhub?
There's alternatives. That's fine.
They'll have something to fight for now.
All
right.
Wait a
Liam,
minute.
how about you? What are you going to do next year?
Oh my. Well, obviously, if I can, I'd like to finish iRobot. That's of the list. Like Chance is talking about. They're the ones that are most important to us, and that big 3 is iRobot, Adam's Family, and Major Havoc. We have the conversion cab for Major Havoc, but I'd like to have a dedicated cabinet for it. And iRobot, obviously, we have the cabinet. I have a PCB. That's a huge hurdle. I have a working iRobot PCB sitting in my closet. But I really want to get this cabinet done. So I just need power supply and a control panel, and then we'll be off to the races. But that'll be good. And the Inferno would be awesome to finish and get the joysticks for. So that'll be hopefully done in 2025. Outside of that, as far as pickups go, I couldn't believe this when I was looking back at what we actually got in 2024, but we did not pick up any color vectors.
What?
I would like to get another color vector in 2025 because we've got a bunch of them on the list. Yeah, but it doesn't work.
No, it still counts.
We still picked it up.
I guess.
I mean, you picked it up and it disintegrated in your hands, but you picked it up.
I tried. But Tapper is also high on the list. That's one of the ones that Sam is looking out for, and possibly another pinball. I got some other projects I want to do. I have this idea. I've got an empty Firefox cabinet in the garage. I want to make a cloak and dagger out of it. I think that'd be kind of fun. Because when I look back at the history of Atari games, Cloak and Dagger comes out right in the middle of Firefox and iRobot. It's right between those 2 releases. So if Atari had done a different cabinet style for it, it could have very well been a pedestal. And the Firefox I've got was converted to a Rescue Raider. Got it from Dillweed. So it was already modified for 2 joysticks with a button in the center. So perfect for Cloak and Dagger. So that might be fun. But we'll see. I mean, I feel like there's going to be a lot of projects to be done in 2025. We started 2024 with very few projects in the garage, but right now we've got a whole bunch of crap sitting in the garage that I need to get through. So hopefully we'll chew through that list.
You said a bad word, Liam.
I did.
He's not
Yeah,
continuing.
In
this
2025,
segment.
you need to clean up your mouth. That's what you need to do in 2025.
I'm going to add something to my list, actually. Something that I do want to get done. I have had that Rockola Fantasy cabinet in my garage for 2 years now. I just figured that out because I went through my Flickr gallery and to remind myself when I picked up or when I finished a game, I actually look at my Flickr gallery. And I've had that Rockola Fantasy cabinet sitting in my garage for the longest time. And I have been saying for the longest time that it needs to be a nibbler again. I'll wait till Liam's done typing. But
Oh my God.
it's like an old typewriter. I love that keyboard.
It is an old typewriter. Literally.
Pick it up, show it on the camera. But
Arcade
He
age.
can't. He can't. It's 38 pounds.
I love that thing. But just like if it doesn't clack, oh, this is so heavy. If it doesn't clack, it's not worth
send it
typing
back.
on. Yeah, exactly. But no, my 2025 goal, one of the arcade goals, because we've kind of touched on this. I've touched on this multiple times in multiple episodes of this, is that I wanted to get my project list down to 2. Right? No more, no less.
Just like the Sith.
Exactly. That's a really good way to look at it. Because if you have more than 2, it overwhelms everything. Great. So one of those 2 is Nibbler. And the other is my X-Men. Well, it's a NBA Jam cabinet, but it will become an X-Men. So I've got an X-Men board. I've got Nibbler parts. I've got a bit kit for it. We're going to do both of these games this year. Science willing, both of this time next year when we sit down to do this recap episode again, I will have completed Nibbler as a multi bit kit cabinet, because I know I made fun of you earlier for that. But that will be my Nibbler cabinet, and then the X-Men will be done and on location. Yeah,
Cool. Well, I think you guys all. I think I didn't skip K this time, so
That wouldn't
I
let
think
you.
for me, my plan for 2025. All right. So I got January and February figured out. In January, we're doing JAMA January, like I talked about, because I have a big old stack of JAMA PCBs that I want to test out and start playing. So that'll be fun. I'm kind of joking that I then need to do Fix It February because my Asteroids Cabaret has been down for about a month or so. Basically, it just reboots constantly. Like it's not a monitor issue. Oh, my leg just cramped. It's a board issue, so like it'll display an image and then just reboot like once a second. And then shortly thereafter, Tempest went down. Tempest has just flashing start buttons, so not good there, but another board issue. And then during a live stream, my Carnival sound stopped working. Like it was just like locked on. It was making some loud sound, and I power cycled it and then had no sound. And then the other day I turned it back on. I turned it back on and it works. Like I'll even start a game here.
And now it's not going to work. Just
He just jinx himself right now.
it's going to catch fire.
Oh no, now it's not working.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. Cool. So add Carnival back to the list for Fix It February. Awesome. But then the projects that I want to rip through, and the Star Wars really isn't a project because it's just me trying to get a monitor working for a friend. The Sidam Bosconian that I talked about, the Multi-Williams in the Joust that I talked about. I want to get the Jungle King finally done. I really want to tear into the Irish food fight. I want to get the Battlezone Cabaret from the Warehouse raid done. People were talking, I think it was Wayne in the live chat talking about the Moon Patrol cocktail. I haven't touched that in 11 months. And then I had those 2 big pickups, one in June, one in August, that I need to do pickup videos about, and I'm really excited about, or at least I was really excited about both. I'm still really excited about one of them, but those will be pretty involved projects. And then I've got all the other projects that I've started and haven't finished. There's the Missile Command cocktail I haven't touched in forever. There's the second Qbert, the one that I'm going to keep, the one that's for me, that's got an original board set. My Defender I haven't touched in forever. I mentioned the Outrun Minis. Figure, get one out of that. I'm going to get the Balicente cabinet back, and I've been talking to Charles Klein about getting like a chicken shift kit to put in there. I need to get the kicks done. I want to get the kicks done. I know Troy from Troy's Restorations just started working on a kicks. I've got the rest of the games from the Warehouse Raid, and particularly the Enigma 2, I think will be fun. And the 3 Pac Minis that I got to figure out what I want to do with, the 2 Pac-Man minis and the 1 Ms. Pac-Man mini, because I've got uprights for both of those games, so I don't know what I'm going to do with those. But yeah, and there's plenty of other projects that I'm not even talking about. The second Robotron, the Golden Tee, like I mentioned. There's still plenty of other stuff in the garage that I need to dig into. So I got plenty of stuff to keep me busy and cranking out videos with.
Hey, Charlie.
Yeah.
Have your Multi-Williams? You're putting a J-Rock in that, I take it.
Yeah.
It's right there.
It's right here. Yeah.
Okay. Have you decided on what you're doing for the art package for that yet?
Yes. So this is for Mark from Back to the Media. He picked out which one he wanted.
Oh, okay.
And I think it was from Sticker Smith.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, I designed this for mine. So that's just
I think that's very similar to not the marquee. The marquee is very different.
Yeah, that nobody else has that marquee.
That's the side art is very similar to what he picked out, and that looks like a pretty standard Multi-Williams CPO.
If you want,
might be interesting. I've got the art package already, though.
Oh, okay.
I might need to replace the CPO because it's not going to survive a public location.
Yeah. This one does. This one would. This is the one I talked about earlier from.
The problem is
from Phoenix.
Well, he doesn't have them in stock right now.
I don't think he'll ever bring them back. I don't think he's going to print them again.
Well, and so that only leaves. That only leaves. Yeah.
Rich.
Hey, Mike's Arcade is here. This always happens, right?
Mike jumps in at the end. Mike, we were just talking about you.
Mike jumps in. Oh man. All right. So yeah, that's what I've got going on. Wasn't it last episode where we're literally wrapping up and Mike leaves a comment, and I literally we had transitioned to the outro, and I cut back in. I said, Mike's Arcade is here. So
Mike, we're like on the same time zone, Mike. What the deal?
So let's see.
What's the deal?
A lot of trash being talked here. Let's see. Matt SNES Cube 64 channel member chimes in to say, "Fix it February will bleed into make it work March." And why is this working April? Great. And then Kay said, maybe find a new hobby May. Finish February. Just one more pickup June and July. A lot of jokers here. Frog Puppet hasn't picked up a game in a whole year. We're gonna have to fix that soon.
Did you lie to your wife about how much money you spent this month?
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, and
Me neither.
I think you said you want you've got a thread going on Clav where you've got some games you want to trade, looking for some cabarets. Yeah, I want to find a way to get one of these Pac-Man mini down to you.
You know what? If we can find me a Carnival cabaret, the Trimline cabaret.
Oh, those are very uncommon.
Just the cabinet itself, because I know Sega did a couple of games with that cabinet. If I can find one of those, I'll do a pickup in 2025.
Wow, guys, let's make that happen.
Maybe
you heard it here first.
You know,
because
I'd be willing to trade or get rid of my upright.
No, it has to be the cabaret.
I'll
explain why the Trimline cabaret. I'll explain why.
Mike's got one.
Cut it in half. Now it's a cabaret.
I know Mike has one. I've talked to him about this in the past.
Todd Tucky has one.
Do you know what I want to make? Is a Sheriff, a reproduction of the Sheriff prototype Trimline. I have all
was
the
never
parts for
released?
one. No, Mike made me some. So Mike was in need of a pair of Sheriff joysticks to be able to do his reproductions, and so I sent him mine, and he graciously sent me a pair of the repros back. And so now I'm sitting on those and a pair of pods, like the Nintendo cocktail pods, and I've done scans of the artwork. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to make a Sheriff trim line. I will do that. I will make that, and I will make a video series on the Canadian Arcade if we can find me an empty Sega trim line.
You heard it here, folks. He's laying down the gauntlet. So let's see if we can make that happen.
No, he doesn't want a
Admit.
gauntlet. That's a different game.
Yeah, that's a.
All right, cool. Why don't we start wrapping it up? Anything else you guys want to talk about, or should we plug and run?
I've got something important.
All right,
Plug and
let's
Run
hear
was my
it.
nickname in
Fine.
college. Yeah, that's our cue. We should go.
Yep. Good night.
Oh, love it.
Liam, where can everyone find you on the internets?
Retrobotics on YouTube. Eventually, we might post a video, sometime, or
That's my MO.
on 64-bit.
You can't steal my bit.
Okay, how
I
about
don't
you?
know how long it's been since we posted a video.
Currently, you can find me on TikTok at prime_arcade until TikTok is no longer a thing. You can also find me on YouTube at Prime Arcade TX.
And of course, I'm Charlie from Overtime Arcade. If you're watching this live stream right now, you're watching it. Oh, sorry, Chance. You're watching it on my channel.
Sure, Chase.
Make sure you hit that like
wow.
button. People always forget on live streams. There is a like button down there, right down there somewhere, down below that Canadian guy. There should be a like button. Even if you don't like him, you can still hit that like button. All right, Chance, go ahead. Are you doing anything these days on the internet?
Go ahead,
Yes.
Chad.
Yeah, I am the lesser half of the Canadian Arcade. We do content. We do have some content that we need to edit and put up.
You're the unspecified lesser toe. That's an inside joke for channel members.
Yeah. We you can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/the Canadian Arcade. We're big enough that we can do the the Canadian Arcade. And then you don't have to search for us. You can just type that in. And then also Canadian Arcade on Instagram. We actually post more on Instagram lately than we have on YouTube. But we are going to do more YouTube shorts this year. I guarantee it. Yeah.
There you go. Guarantee. Cool. All right. I think that'll about do it. And we'll wrap it up here. Just want to say real quick, anybody out there in Los Angeles, hope you're doing well, staying safe. And yeah, we're thinking about you. So thanks, everybody. This was the Coin Jam podcast. We'll see you again, maybe again this month. I don't even know.
Ooh.
What do you guys think? Who knows?
Let's just do it.
A message from the government of Canada.